The All Blacks versus the Springboks is probably rugby's greatest rivalry. We certainly like to think so in this country. We've been playing each other since 1921, and it's all on again this Saturday night. The Herald's Winston Aldworth has gone back through all the tests and ranked them from worst to best. And unbelievably, it hasn't crushed him, the weight of all of that research. And he joins me here now on set this morning. Winston Aldworth, Herald Sports Editor. Take it away. Tell us what on earth possessed you to look back all of this in the first place.
Good morning, Garth. I think it did crush me a bit, actually. So there've been 108 tests, and this between the two sides. This piece actually started out as a ranking of the top 10 games. And I started doing it last year and just got a bit distracted, and it sort of blew out. Once you do 10, you think, well, why not do 20? Then once you've done 20, you just go the whole hog.
Where does it end? And you weren't using AI?
No, but I was just watching that. Perhaps I should have, I think. The truth is too that of the 100, the reason you end up ranking all of them rather than a few of them is they are just all doozies. Like, they're just never not interesting when the All Blacks play the Springboks. You've either got the brutal collision thing that rugby gives sports fans, or you've got high stakes, excellent, dazzling footy, or you've got off-field drama. You've got geopolitical intrigue, you've got aircraft buzzing the stadiums. It's just, it's somehow bigger than just what a footy game normally gives you. And it goes to, I think there's something about that period in the 80s when the Springboks weren't around, and they became sort of mythic characters for New Zealand footy fans. World Cups arrived, professional rugby was, shortly in the pipeline going to come through, but always in the background there was this looming spectre of the Springboks, and they would come back and destroy us, and they were all,
There was that aspect that we all thought the second they turned up we'd get a mix of hiding.
My dad told me they were all 10 foot tall and built of concrete, and he was just about right. Turned out they came back and they were a little bit off the pace, but they were pretty quick to get back on pace. Yeah. And obviously they've got the wood over us at World Cups.
Yeah.
We need to sort of flip that one around. A lot of fans will say that, the All Blacks, having won the first World Cup, we've won one away, we were the first to win back-to-backs. But until we beat the Boks in a final, you could argue that
that's the last trophy on the shelf.
That's the big one.
Like.
That's the big one still sitting there.
Yeah. You mentioned some of that off-field drama. That's underscoring it almost, really, or understating it almost. It's been a lens through which we looked at world affairs at various points in time, right?
Yeah, there was a sort of awakening of the, yes, we're a little nation and we're pretty unimportant in the grand scheme of things, but when the wrongs of the apartheid regime were playing out on the streets of Sandringham, it sort of brings it home that our voices do matter, and sport really, really mattered at that time and still now.
Oh, I think I'm pretty sure Mandela talked in one of his books about listening to the crowds coming from Hamilton and hearing the Amandla chant, and that sort of revved him up when he was locked up on Robben Island. So it's a sort of it's louder than a crowd.
Didn't stop him from cheering for the wrong team in '95.
Well, you can't blame him for that, though, can you? I mean, I think
fair play.
Trying to get a bit of national unity going.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want you to pick your top game.
Sure.
I want you to pick one that you stumbled across in this epic work that you thought, crikey, that was a good one.
Well, there were some doozies. There was one that was a terrible one, which you'll find very high in the article. They played in, I think the third or fourth time they played was in Wellington in 1921. It was 0-0. And it was 10 degrees.
So classic, beautiful game.
10 degrees Celsius. People sometimes think that rugby's become a bit lightweight and they throw the ball around too much. But I think we're pretty lucky today.
We've been in 2 inches of mud, I'm sure.
Yeah, think of that when you're sitting on your sofa on Saturday night. Yeah. So that's a doozy. But there's everything out of 56. The 56 series really, and there's some great work by authors like Warwick Roger. Kiwi journalist wrote about that series and what it meant for the New Zealand psyche. So yeah, that's a biggie. I think one outlier in there. There's this, when John Mitchell first came in, they played some really good footy, and we put 50 odd over them on a sunny day at Ellis Park. So yeah, also big fan of how Lima Sopoaga went on debut. So
wow, okay, that was a cornucopia. Winston Aldworth, that's about 13,000 words worth of effort that I need to sort of dive into at some point over the weekend.
Enjoy it.
You'll be keeping an eye on the latest chapter of that, I'm sure.